G'day folks, you're listening to the podcast It's the Whisky Talking with Harrie and Craig. In this podcast we take a light-hearted look at our current favourite whisky, things that have got us thinking lately, other things that just pop into our heads while we're talking, and matters that have slowly taken on more significance as we ease our way into the last third of our lives. So kick back, pour yourself a pleasing beverage, and join us on our search for wisdom, thinly disguised as mates having a bit of a banter. G'day Harrie, how you going?
Good mate, how are you Craig?
Yeah, pretty good. Feel like a whiskey?
I certainly do.
I've got a lovely one here from our favourite people in Melbourne, Starward, and it's their flagship whiskey, Nova. I think we've had it a few times, but it gets better each time.
It is a very nice go-to for me. I like the Starwards, and the Nova is their general standard. I mean, they come up with so many every week or every month. I see another variety they bring out for Christmas and for celebration times, but they're using different casks, etc. But this is my go-to, the old Nova.
They've got an interesting description about why their position in Melbourne is such a good one for producing whiskey here. They actually see a virtue in the four seasons in one day, a seasonal aspect of Melbourne. They reckon that because it can be really warmer in the morning and cooler in the afternoon, that the oak casks that they mature the whiskey in expand and contract regularly throughout the day, and this apparently is really good for extracting the flavour from the wood and getting it into the whiskey. So whatever the story is, I think it's done pretty well.
It certainly does. I think it's probably going through the changes on a daily basis probably means that it ages that more quickly.
Yes, ageing. There's a topic for you.
That's the whole reason for the podcast, I think.
Yep. Try and work.
Besides drinking whiskey.
Yep. Well, I think the whiskey is a way of making the aging go easier, hopefully. So anything been on your mind this week?
No, not really. It's been a normal sort of week. It's the weather's been cold and wet, which I don't enjoy. I'm not a big fan of winter. I feel the cold now, the older I get, and I think even mentally, I think when you're cold and dark, things aren't so much fun.
Yep, I don't call it the winter blues for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I do experience it, and it's something that I'm now mindful of. For such a long time, I didn't realise that I was a bit of a grumpy bugger during the winter times, but now I see it. It makes me appreciate so much more when it is the warmer months, and probably my favourite months in the year, probably the autumn months, where there's no or little wind, and it's nice and warm in the afternoon, even more so than the hot summer months.
So this podcast, pretty good idea, I think.
Yeah, it has been. It's been a little while in the making. I think we probably had the idea over a whiskey several years ago, I think, talking about two old blokes drinking whiskey and talking shit, basically. And then we decided that probably if it was to offer anything to anybody else other than just us, we probably had to have some community-minded or some community value, I suppose.
Yeah, and the idea was to communicate issues that are associated with us ageing, as we just said, getting to the last third of our life, and all the things that come along with that. We've certainly noticed that things have changed.
Most definitely. And I think there's a lot of... We're seeing, I mean, both yourself and myself, we're not currently retired as yet. It's something we're moving towards, but we have seen friends, both older and younger than us, in the retirement phase. Some have taken it on really well, and some maybe not so well.
Yeah, and I think with a bit of luck, we'll be able to interview some of those friends of ours and acquaintances and see if we can extract any pearls of wisdom from them about what has worked and what hasn't worked, about not even just retirement, but simply moving to a different time of our lives where, we've achieved a lot of stuff and we might even be thinking to ourselves, well, what does all that mean? Was that worth it? Should I be aiming to do something different now? We don't know the answers to any of that.
No.
And we're hoping that some people might have had some experience that we can reflect upon and other people might get some benefit from. Because it is one of those things that we don't really... society doesn't prepare us for all that well. There are a lot of aspects of our life, particularly when we're younger, where society is set up to prepare us. The education system is designed to prepare us for some sort of career, whether that's highly professional one or even just simply to understand how the world works a bit and learn how to read and write and do some maths and that sort of thing. But in terms of the latter years of our life, society doesn't really prepare us for what's going to happen and what's the best way to be ready for it. And you just really have to sort of muddle through yourself. And we're hoping that this will be an avenue to help other people muddle through it just as we are.
I don't think we'll ever come up with the ultimate guide, but at least by speaking to people that are going through it and relaying that to other people are able to pick up some springs of wisdom, I suppose, and help them navigate through to the last few years or the last third of their lives, and come up with some sort of path that suits them, I suppose, and along the way enjoy it as much as possible.
So we don't profess to be able to give any advice to anyone. We're just hoping to tell some stories.
Yeah, exactly.
And hopefully people can get something from those stories.
And try some good whiskies on the way through.
And then we're also thinking to set up an email address and a web page so that we can share any pearls of wisdom that our listeners might care to share with us. And hopefully this just helps to some extent. So
just something else about this Starward's whiskey that we're now drinking. I remember my whiskey journey probably started with, all I blame series on TV when they started with Netflix and with the advent of Netflix, etc. here, and the streaming services. And I watched a couple of series. One was Suits, and one was, I can't remember the name of it now, but it's a cowboy type one, Justified. And I couldn't believe how much whiskey or bourbon they would drink during any one day when they're supposed to be working. And it seemed to be, obviously, in Suits, they were drinking Macallans, and it was always expensive whiskies.
Yeah, $1,000 a bottle.
Yeah, because they can afford it. And I thought, well, it achieved what it was supposed to achieve, I suppose, with this subliminal marketing that was going on and the product placements, because I started to get this hankering to try whiskies. Up until then, obviously, I wasn't drinking a lot of whiskey. It was mixed with Coke or something else. I then weaned myself off that and tried the whiskies neat or with a bit of ice or sometimes water, and found I really quite enjoyed it. And it was actually Craig's birthday was coming up, his 60th, and I thought, we both sort of discovered whiskey about the same time, so I thought
I reckon it was my 50th.
Was it? If it was your 50th too, sorry, I apologise.
A long time ago,
it was your 50th, yes, you're right, it was your 50th. So I thought, okay, we're both getting into this whiskey thing, so I thought I'd go and check out buy him a nice bottle of whiskey for his birthday. Went to a reputable whiskey dealer, if that's the thing, a whiskey purveyor of whiskey.
Bottle shop, mate.
Bottle shop, but it was one that specialised in whiskies. And after giving him the full story, he said, mate, this is what you want to start with. This is a great whiskey. I expected it to come from Speyside or one of the islands off Scotland or somewhere, but no, it wasn't. It was actually an Australian whiskey called Starward's, and haven't looked back since. So I gave it to Craig, and he's enjoyed it as well. So that's where our association with Starward's, non-sponsored at this stage, association with Starward started, and we continue to drink it as our staple.
Yeah, my journey with whiskey was probably started around that time. I never was much into it. I was into other alcohols, but I don't know why. I didn't really have much experience with whiskey. It always just seemed like one of those things that, I don't need to try. But then a student of mine, I'd supervised his PhD, and he gave me as a gift a bottle of Lagavulin. And So, people might be amazed that that's the first whiskey I really tried, but I had a shot, so to speak, and was amazed at the peaty taste of it and the smokiness, and I just could not get over how you could get that sort of flavour into a liquid. I mean, I've certainly smelled that many times and tasted burnt food.
Seen by campfire.
Yeah. So, yeah, that really set me off being interested just in the different whiskies that had that type of a taste, and then the others that don't, but still have other amazing flavours to them. So, yeah, I haven't looked back either, except on those occasions where I've drunk too many. It's always that last one that gets you.
It becomes a bit of a rabbit hole, though, doesn't it? Because I remember at one stage when we started getting into this drinking of the whiskey, you can keep going and going to the stage where it just becomes crazy, and you can't even have an intelligent conversation with anybody about it because it starts getting weird when you're talking about, do you have ice, don't you have ice, do you have water, don't you have water, and then certain water soluble flavours of oils, whatever within the whiskey are better with water, without, but it doesn't hold true to one whiskey compared to another, and it just becomes crazy. And I think once you start getting to that level, I'm not enjoying it anymore. It's like, to me, I enjoy a good coffee, but still, sometimes, I can't tell if a coffee's come out of a civet's bum, or if it's just straight, if it's Ethiopian, or I mean, at the end of the day, good coffee tastes like good coffee, and I think you can spend so much time. And maybe if that's your thing, that's your thing. If you've got nothing else to do, great. But for me, I enjoy a good whiskey. Sometimes peaty, sometimes not. Sometimes bourbon, sometimes rye, sometimes corn mash, whatever it's going to be. I enjoy the whiskey, and I don't really I like the history of it. I think it's a fantastic thing, and the different types of casks they use, and I guess the rules and regulations around the casks and what they can and can't use to age them. But beyond that, really, if I enjoy it, I enjoy it.
Yeah, just drink it the way you enjoy it. That's why we're drinking it, I think, is because we enjoy the flavour of it.
Yeah.
And, whatever maximises that flavour for you, that's the important bit.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So that's our whiskey origin. We've also got our own origin story. Harry and I have been friends for a long, long time. In fact, our parents were friends before we were born. And my earliest memory of you, Harry, was when we started primary school together. I'm no doubt that we had been together before that, but I don't have any strong memories of it. But we started primary school together down in Bunbury, and but even that didn't last very long because my father got
Transferred.
He transferred to another state, so we moved off to Melbourne, and then we came back after a few years, and our families were reunited, and we spent a lot of time together as children and teenagers. And then
you got transferred with work. I think you were.
Well, shortly after I got married, moved off to the other side of Australia to work at a university over there. But a few years later, we came back, and we've been solid ever since.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I suppose it's testament to true friendship, and we hear it all the time. Sometimes you can not see a friend for years and years, and when you come back to catching up again, it's like those years haven't even been in the whole scheme of things, because you're just moving on, and you're both aging at the same, I guess, level. Even though you're not together, you share common viewpoints, and the friendship just continues. But also there was, talking about that, I guess some of the things that remind us of our time as friends are some of the old black and white photos that we've got that were obviously taken by our parents. I think one of your brother in a pram, if I remember, in a doll's pram.
Yeah, and us all in our long socks.
Yeah, exactly.
Shorts and long
socks. And boardies, long boardies down to your knees that weren't even fashionable back then, but my mum used to make them for me, and so she'd think the longer the better. But yeah, so those black and white photos, so it really gives you an idea of time and how long you've been around. And although now we have access to digital photos via digital cameras and then via your phones, it's hard now to go back in time and look at some of these previous times if you haven't kept photo albums, because in many instances you haven't scanned those photos. So, and even if you had those photos, so I mean, I guess for kids and people younger than us, they will have access to all of those photos, but don't necessarily look at them or view them because they're there stored away somewhere in a hard drive until the requirement or opportunity, usually a funeral, comes where you've got to dig those photos out. Or maybe not just a funeral, but I mean, obviously 50th, 60th, 70th, those, large birthdays. But there is no way of, I guess for me, bringing yourself back to that time to look and see, because you just don't see.
Yep.
Where the old photo albums, you were there, you could pull them out at any time, like a book, I suppose, exactly like a book. You can always grab a book off the shelf and read it at any time. So you got the Kindle, you got all that as well. And even Spotify, those things, you can pull up any song you like at any time from any genre you like, but you have to actually be in that mindset to start with to go looking for that song. Where with a book, as an example, you can walk past and just pull a book out, and that will then bring you back to that time.
Yeah, well, that's right, a bookshelf or a shelf with records on it, old LPs. That in itself will spark your memory.
Yes.
And stimulate you to think, I'd like to listen to that again.
Yes.
Whereas if you call up your Spotify app,
Yep.
Most of the time it's trying to sell you new stuff. Not so much you buy it, but they want you to listen to the new releases. They don't often advertise stuff from your past. You have to go off and look for it. And so you're right. Then what's making you think about that old song? So the other day, for instance, I was reading an article about one of the founding members of the band 10cc, and he's still touring with a form of that band. And they were talking about all of their songs, and I thought, some of those songs, I love those songs. And so that's when I went to 10cc and just played the 10cc. Sorry, I went to Spotify and played the greatest hits of 10cc, and it was great for a good 45 minutes. But other times, what would have made me think about 10cc?
Nothing.
I mean, I know some people who are absolutely obsessed by one or two artists, and that's all they play all the time. And I think, well, you don't need the stimulation of being stimulated to pick up an album from that person because you're doing it all the time. But me, I mean, I love so many different artists that it does take something out of the ordinary to spark me and say.
And the algorithm won't remind you of it because unless you've actually picked it up. Like you said, you stumbled across 10cc because you saw an old album, and that made you think about it. So now probably your algorithm is going to start including 10cc because you listen to them. But up to that point, though, there was nothing to trigger your memories or your thoughts to go back to that time. And I think that's the thing. We've got unlimited number of photos, etc., with our digital storage, but because they're all out there, but you don't go looking for them until you actually think of something that makes you want to look for them.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? So that's why I persist with the bookshelf. I've still got lots of books there, even though I very rarely go and read a book again. But it's just nice to be reminded of the stories that I did read.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. I mean, a lot of people get excited by the idea of having a library or a library room, and it's a weird sort of thing. I mean, I'm very excited by that too, and I love the old-fashioned big libraries that exist around the world. But I do often wonder why it's good to have them. I mean, it's great to have that sort of repository of knowledge, but we've now got another form of that in terms of the internet.
Yeah.
So you wonder, well, what's the purpose of it? I mean, in some respects, we used to be able to lend books to people and sort of share the knowledge, but now it's so much easier to do that. You can just send them a link on the internet.
But there is a bit of a pushback too, though, isn't it? I mean, you'll see like there's community libraries and there is also those neighbourhood libraries where people have a box out in front of their house. So there's obviously the demand for it. And look, I'm by no means am I a big reader. I'm not a reader. I'm a terrible reader. I don't read. I don't like sitting reading a book. I'm not comfortable sitting down doing that, so I don't do it. I have read books, and if I get a good one, I will actually push it through and I'll see it right through to the end. But I don't go looking for a book. I'll go through stages. But even myself, it's the tactile nature, I think, of it. And there are people that love bookshops. And I don't read, but I still love a bookshop. And I can sit in a bookshop and have a coffee, which sounds a bit wanky, but it's one of those things where it's something that's in me, and I don't know whether... And I think there still must be people in this current generation and the new generations and everything else that are still feeling that, because there is still a pushback when people say, oh, we're going to get rid of a library or we're doing this. And it's even coming as I say, we see, obviously, we've both got grandkids now, and our very young grandkids, but I'm seeing it even happen now, things like toy libraries and those sort of things. So they still, it's kind of nice that we're not in a totally digital, disposable world.
I saw a great story during the week, actually, in Melbourne. There was a bookshop in Burke Street that was moving premises. It was a very popular bookshop, and they had to move, 100 metres down the road. Yeah, so rather than get the removalists in, they had 16,000 books, and they just had all of their customers stand on the pavement and do a sort of human chain, passing one book at a time.
Right. and that in itself, just that photo, it just made you, it was such a good photo. It captured so many positives, the fact that books are still a thing, and the fact that there is enough people to get to do it, that want to do it, and the fact that the books, they brought the people together to do that, which was it was a wonderful, wonderful, I guess, snapshot in time.
Yeah, and it's the sort of story that it's lovely. It meant that the elements of society were working together for a sort of common goal, and we don't get enough of those stories.
No. It's always the other way. There's
all
always
working
problems
for ourselves or working against each other.
Yeah, and I don't get political, but I mean, there's just so much stuff even in the footy at the moment. There is so much, I guess, hate and things going on, and it's so nice to step back from that and see that stuff is good. There is good stuff in there, and you've got to be careful that you don't get caught up with just the bad stuff, because that's the way news likes to portray. Likes to sell the bad stuff, and the good stuff, well, it might be a bit of a puff piece on a Thursday afternoon, but that's all.
Well, speaking of good stuff, we've both become grandparents in recent months. In fact, within the it's a year now since.
Yeah, well, Addie will be, Binks will be 1 year old on Friday.
Wow, fantastic. Yep, and I've got some twins who are about 10 months old, and they're not the first in my family. My wife's daughter, she's got lovely Nellie, and now Georgia as well. So we're both very blessed with our grandchildren.
Yes.
And that's really changed our outlook on life, I think.
Yeah, totally. And I said this, I think, to you once before, and I don't know if it's a chicken or the egg thing, but because I have seen it since, I saw a little plaque in one of these gift shops which said virtually what I'd been trying to say, but I don't think I got it from there. I don't think it copied it from me either, but it's obviously something that must be hanging around, which basically said something like, I think they said heart, and I think I might have said mind, but your being seems to exist with that place there for a grandchild that is not filled until that grandchild comes along. But you don't know until you know. You don't know that spot's even missing.
The unknown hole.
Yeah, unknown hole. And you know it was there when obviously your grandkid comes along and fills it, which is just, it's an amazing thing. And I've had friends up until now saying to me, when you get grandkids, you'll know. It's completely different. We can't explain it to you, you'll just know. And I think, well, yeah, that sounds very, very Hallmark, but it's actually true for me. Anyway, I can only speak for myself.
No, it is amazing. I have to drive a fair way to see the twins, and I don't mind. I mean, it's great. And I only see them for a short time, but they are so joyful. Every time they see me, they smile all the time. They're just so... And at the moment, they're at the crawling stage, and they crawl all over each other. They're like watching slow puppies. It's hilarious. Yeah, no, they're full of joy.
Yeah, yeah, they are. And I see it. I mean, we see it, we're not so far away, so it's good for us. Only sort of 4 or 5 minutes away, and we see Addie or Binks on a regular basis, and she's got her first birthday coming up, birthday party on Sunday. And I used to always give Jess and Duncan hell about first birthday parties and what a lot of wank, basically, all the stuff that goes on and the number of people and everything else. And they said, no, we won't be like that. It's not. They're not spending lots of money. They're going to the local, I guess, PCYC. There's a bit of a hall and a whole lot of kids climbing around on each other and a few parents and everything else. But it's not. It's still numbers as wise. You think, well, there's 25 kids or something.
Oh God!
And they're only one. So.
Are these kids all in the same play group or something?
Yeah, they're in the same play group and mothers group and everything else. So Jess has, bless, she had a fantastic mothers group. Which mothers group's a fairly new thing, I think. I mean, I don't remember when we had our kids that there was actually a mothers group like it is now. I don't know, but
well, I don't know what they're like now, but Yeah, there was a mothers group when my kids were little. Yeah, and that, I mean, it was good for us because it was when we moved to a completely different town.
Yeah.
We didn't know anyone, and that's how my wife got to know people.
Yeah, well, I think it's the same with Jess. Jess has lots of friends from work because she's not been at work for, obviously the last sort of 8, 9, 10 months. She's got a whole new group of friends, and they all live very close, and they all walk to coffee shops, and they all, have ideas about how to get your kid to sleep and what your kid eating and what your kid doing, and they compare. So,
yes, yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
That everyone's got advice.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's not all going to be in the same direction either, unfortunately.
No.
So I'll tell you what's been on my mind lately. My wife wanted a stand-up desk.
Mm-hmm.
So we ordered one, fairly cheap one, because it was a very small space that she's in. And
Is this for home or at work?
this is for home.
Okay.
Yep. And it's obviously it's going to come as a flat pack.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got 1 million pieces on it. And I must admit the instructions were very clear. They were not a problem to understand until I got about 2/3 of the way through. And there was a sort of supporting beam under the desk that I had to attach some other things to. And I thought, hang on a minute, there's supposed to be a hole here to put this screw into, and the hole wasn't there. And I was looking backwards to see when I first put that beam in, and of course I had it upside down.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at that original diagram, and the screw hole, it was there, but it was the tiniest little speck, and there was no indication that, please make sure you've got this the right way up. So, of course, I had to go back several steps, undoing it.
Couldn't drill another hole?
Drill another hole. No, probably not. Well, you probably, actually, a tradesman would have, but not me. No. And I think, oh, bloody hell. And I reckon every time I've ever assembled something from a flat pack, I've had an issue like that.
And the thing is, too, that most of the flat packs have exactly the right number of nuts and bolts and screws nowadays, where before you had extra ones, you expected extra ones. So there's nothing worse than getting through and finishing it, find you've got half a dozen screws left, and you think, maybe it'll hold up, I don't know, maybe something. But I've done the same, because they always... everything is done to the absolute minimum, and then we melamine on one side and not on the other, and when you step back and look at it and think,
yes,
it's in back to front, or it's the wrong way around. We'll just turn the whole unit upside down. Well, why are the legs on top? It doesn't matter. That's how it's going to be. Yeah, I'm not one to undo stuff. I will drill a hole and just be done. And I've also had situations where I try to be. Well, I don't do this now, but I try to be. Make it stronger and try to do the right thing. So where it's just a bit of dowel, I'll put a bit of glue in there and glue it and dowel it, glue it, only to realise that it's wrong and I can't pull it to pieces.
Oh, no.
It's never gonna fall to pieces, but I can't pull it to pieces to fix it up. So then it just put a tablecloth over it and just forget it.
Yes.
So how's she finding the stamp desk? Is she using it?
Yes, she loves it. So she needed it. I mean, she's got a stand-up desk at work, but she works at home 2 days a week, and she was getting really sore neck. And I look at her while she was sitting at the desk. I thought, that is the worst position. Your posture is shocking.
Yeah.
And she says, I know, but I can't help it. So, yeah, we finally bit the bullet, and she says it's great.
Yeah, well, I found, and I've kind of gone the other way, because even pre-COVID for ages, I thought, when this first talk was, sitting's the new smoking or something, whatever it was, and so I embraced that I want something I can do. So I got a stand-up desk, like you were saying, and wherever I worked, I had stand-up desks, and it was wonderful, and I had it forever, and it was fantastic. And these stand-up desks that go up and down. I have got one at home, but in my home office, but I'd piled a whole heap of stuff underneath it. Like for storage, so I can't put it down. So it has to be up. So it's stand up all the time, which is fine, and I always did it. And then went to work, and we had stand up, sit down, up down ones, and probably 4 years, always standing up. And then I started getting a sore back. Don't know why or how, or something else. I'd done something in the gym, and I was just being exacerbated by standing. I found, and also the trouble is with standing. For me, I'll then. You push one hip out, and you sort of stand in a funny way, and you don't know you're doing it. So I was actually making it worse. So although I've still got the stand-up desk at home, I've got another desk in that room as well that Tracy tends to use sometimes. I used to use it from when I had an assistant working with me. I tend to find I'm sitting down most of the time now. And even the one at work, I put it down and it stays down most of the time.
Yeah, well, I've been sitting down for most of my working life. I always often tell people if they offer me a chair, I say, no, don't worry about me. I sit for a living.
Yeah, well, I can't. I need to stand.
Yeah, well, that was, and that's what gave me a back problem. So I had to get into the stand desk, and I've got one here at home, and I've got one at work. And I've found for me what works best is to set a timer on my computer for 15 minutes. And
Go for a walk?
No. I stand for 15 minutes and then sit for 15 and try to alternate during the day.
Okay.
And that works really well.
You must be annoying in an office, shared office.
I don't share my office.
Oh, well, if you did, you'd be annoying.
Although that apparently is on the cards. Everyone's going to open plan.
Did you ever go through the fitball stage? You had to sit on a fitball?
No, I didn't, but I've seen it.
And those stupid ones where you had to kneel, basically. Those.
Yes. Jonathan had one of those, my brother, when he was at school. And uni, and it looked good. And I must admit, sitting on it seemed weird, but
it's a guaranteed bullying. You're going to be bullied for that.
Oh yeah, I don't know if he's still got it.
You're not going to get away with that. Not that we condone bullying.
No, just gentle ribbing. Yeah, tweaking of the ear. All right, well, I think that's probably enough for this introductory episode. We've just been rabbiting on, but we'll have some decent topics that I think will be more substantial in the coming episodes. And I'm hoping that as people start to comment on what we're doing, that might lead us into directions that people also would like to know a bit more or what's around. We're going to discuss different whiskies. Harry's going to offer us a different whiskey next time.
I've got another Australian one. It's actually a local, because we're here in Western Australia, so it's a local West Australian Perth one. That's it's worth having a look at. It wasn't the one that I wanted to get from them, but this is actually, I think, a bourbon style, which is nice. And the only thing is, we better get the next podcast in pretty soon, otherwise it'll be gone. I already cracked it open.
And and we're going to work our way around the world. Probably, Scotland, of course, and Ireland, but also Japan. And I also have some interesting surprises from a country that you would not associate with whiskey, but apparently it's very good. Haven't opened them yet.
No, we'll see what that's like. I mean, it would be interesting to see what it's actually like, knowing where it's from. We'll see.
Yep. All right, so thanks everyone for putting in the time to listen to us ramble on. Yep. As we said, we're on a mission. We're trying to work our way through the various issues that are associated with getting to this point in life, and what's associated with that. And hopefully we can help us all. You can help us, and we can help you, and we can all raise a glass to living long and living happily.
Happily, yep. Cheers.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
It's the Whisky Talking is written and produced by Craig Speelman and Harrie Swanson. All music is written and performed by Craig Speelman. The audio was recorded at the Wardrobe in Perth, Western Australia. We value your feedback about the show, especially any information you can provide on issues we've discussed that we can share with our listeners. We'd also love to hear any whisky recommendations. Our email address is whiskytalking@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. We all benefit profoundly from more listening.